Hyundai Motor Group is the third largest automaker in the world by volume. This is no mean feat for a company that just some years ago was considered a low-quality copycat. Now, the three auto brands in HMG's stable are nipping at the heels of well-established competitors and winning award after award.
Hyundai is currently among the highest quality cars available, surpassing industry heavyweights like Ford, Honda, and General Motors to take the third spot as the world's third largest car manufacturer. In today's video, I'll uncover the history behind the brand name Hyundai, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get started. The man who started it all, a farm boy who only wanted to escape poverty, is what makes this so fascinating. As a teenager, he left home and embarked on a journey of setbacks, disappointments, and humiliations. Despite the hardship, he established the largest company in South Korea, dominating not just the car industry, but also shipbuilding, construction, and many other industries, making him the country's richest man. Here's a video of how he closed a deal with foreign ship-owning companies.
A map of the area is all that late Hyundai Group founder Chung Ju-young showed to foreign ship-owning companies to win their orders.
5만 번지 일치도 그다음에는 그 조선소 지켰던 백사장 사진 그걸 들고 가서 네 배를 만들어줄 테니까 사라 이런 얘기죠.
In 1915, Chung Junang was born into a very low-income family in a tiny village in Tonkin, now in North Korea, during the period when Korea was under the harsh colonial rule of the Japanese Empire. Chung wanted to be a teacher while his family toiled long hours on the farm to make ends meet. However, he was forced to leave school at 14 and work alongside his father from dawn until dusk because he was the eldest of 7 children. He reared the animals, carried firewood from town to town, and planted and harvested rice by hand. However, despite their best efforts, the family could never grow enough food to eat, and a single poor harvest would be enough to send them into months of starvation. The young child was plagued by these thoughts for many years, growing weary and angry at the poverty he and his family had to live in until, finally, he had had enough. He and a friend fled their home village when they were 16 years old, walking great distances through some of the most dangerous areas of the nation until they finally arrived in the city of Gowon, which is now part of North Korea. They could find employment there as construction laborers, and despite the extremely low pay, Chung was content. He was entertained by the fact that he could make his own money and thought it was far better than life on the farm. Unfortunately, though, it was short-lived. His father tracked him down and returned him to the village 2 months after he fled. However, it was already too late. Chung was determined not to settle for anything less after experiencing a taste of the life he truly desired. He would flee to Seoul, the current capital of South Korea, twice more in the ensuing 2 years. However, each time he managed to get away, his father caught him again and brought him back. His father told him, "You better not forget that you are just a farm boy who only finished the 6th grade." These remarks were insufficient to deter the young child from making his 4th and final attempt at escape after witnessing the poor harvest devastate the village and leave its residents without food for the winter. And this is the starting point of the real truth. Chung's hunger for success took him on a journey to Seoul. Still, the struggle continued. He did not eventually find better employment until the following year. He worked as a delivery man at a Bokong rice store, riding his bicycle to deliver rice. But this job, unlike the ones he would have had before, paid well and included lunch and dinner. Chung started at the bottom, but his work ethic impressed the owners so much that they let him advance. After just 6 months of employment, he was able to take on the role of store accountant. However, as the years went by, the proprietor battled health problems and was soon found unable to continue running the store. Thus, he decided to sell the company to Chung Ju-young, his young apprentice, who assumed ownership of the Bokong rice store at 22. Because of its low prices, he attracted new customers and soon renamed the company the Congo Rice Store. Before tragedy struck, his work was so outstanding that the company's profits increased annually, rapidly rising to the top of the local rice shop rankings. Because of their war with China, the Japanese colonial government created a rice rationing system in Korea to divert rice to Japan and its army. Many Korean business owners were compelled to quit trading rice, including Chung, who was forced to close his company and return to his hometown because he had nowhere else to go. But in 1940, he returned to the city and tried his luck with a new business endeavor because he never lost hope for a better future. He compiled a list of companies that the Japanese government had not placed restrictions on and that he was allowed to run. He operated the auto repair shop since it was the best one he could find. Using that money, he obtained a bank loan. He purchased a repair facility to launch his next venture, the Edo Service Garage. The issue was that few auto repair shops were in the area, and the existing ones typically overcharged their customers. At the time, the city had a huge demand for auto repair businesses. Chung had no experience with cars, so he hired a skilled mechanic to do the job. He distinguished his company by providing the best customer service and the lowest prices in the city. This straightforward strategy launched a successful business, and Chung had to hire additional mechanics to handle the demand. But unfortunately, disaster would strike again. A few months later, a fire destroyed the entire shop, equipment, and customers' cars. This put Chung in a difficult situation because he was now in debt and had nothing to show. It seemed to him that there was only one way out. After taking out another loan, he established a new repair shop in a more populated city. He immediately attracted a larger and new clientele there because of their affordable prices. The Edo Service Garage expanded over the following 2 years, becoming one of Seoul's top locations for auto repairs. And Chung was doing better than ever, employing over 70 people. However, as he prepared to grow his company even further, something else was happening that would alter the course of his business. Unfortunately for Chung, the Japanese occupation government took over his service garage in 1942 and combined it with a steel plant as part of their war efforts. At the time, Japan was in the midst of the Second World War. Chung, still in shock over the loss of his company, had no choice but to go back to his hometown as tensions over the war increased in Seoul at the same time. Nevertheless, even with the shop closing, he had saved 50,000 yen and was eager to start his next business. He had no idea this new business endeavor would completely alter his life. Reopening his service garage in 1946, Chung was free from government restrictions. Hyundai means modern in English, so he named it the Hyundai Auto Service Center. Initially, they catered to U.S. military trucks and Japanese jalopis. By the end of that year, Chung's network of employees had almost tripled from 30 to 80. Now that he had successfully reorganized his company, he could run it without interference from the Japanese government. By then, he had relocated his family to the recently formed nation of South Korea, where they all joined him in the business. Chung, however, later saw a construction company receiving up to 10 million won per contract, even though he had submitted contracts for 400,000 won for his auto repair services. He started the Hyundai Construction Company in 1947 because he was astounded that someone could make that much money on a single project. At first, the company had difficulty making ends meet as it built army quarters and auxiliary sites and repaired buildings. However, the Hyundai company was finally making significant strides by 1950. However, a massive attack by North Korea on the south forced Chung to flee to Busan and give up his business. He and his brother had no money and were vagrants, delivering newspapers to the frontline troops and locals while working for different publishers. People were more afraid than ever of falling under the control of the Communist Party and the North Korean regime, so spreading the word that UN forces were en route to save them was their only chance for survival. Chung happened to come upon a U.S. Army Help Wanted sign one day. He was happy to lend his assistance because the U.S. was pressuring local experts in the construction industry at the time. During the war, he started constructing barracks for thousands of American soldiers and quickly established a wonderful working relationship with the U.S. Army. Subsequently, he assembled his team to finish even larger projects, like renovating Quarterly in South Korea and constructing housing for the US president when he visited. This was a brilliant move because Chung's company could fulfill almost all US Army orders when the Korean War ended. However, South Korea's economy was having difficulties simultaneously, making it one of the poorest nations in Asia, even poorer than North Korea. In response, the US government gave the South Korean government billions of dollars to help rebuild their infrastructure and stimulate their economy. Seeing the chance, Chung was able to secure a contract for the restoration of the Goryeo Bridge in 1953, which was the largest project in the nation at the time. But this promising project did not turn out the way he had hoped. Chung was still naive and lacked the tools, knowledge, and experience required for such a large undertaking. This resulted in slow progress, fatalities, workplace accidents, and rising inflation. As his brothers sold their homes to help pay their employees, Chung quickly found himself short of cash and had to take out new loans. They continued to produce until the bridge was finished despite this. However, by that point, the family had incurred enormous debt, suffered financial losses from the project, and been publicly shamed by their rivals. Chung was extremely sorry for his family's troubles and financial hardship after witnessing his brother living in a small shack without a place to live or any support. At that moment, he swore he would build them a successful business and the largest company in the nation. Despite being a complete disaster, the Goryeo Bridge marked a significant turning point in Hyundai's history. The Ministry of Interior gave Chung's company a high credit score, which made it much easier for him to get loans and support his company's growth. He also discovered the value of sophisticated machinery and heavy equipment. Because of his alliance with the USA, he could purchase what he required straight from them. The South Korean government possessed most of this equipment back then, and private companies were prohibited from importing it abroad. Thus, Chung had a significant advantage over his rivals. Because of its ability to offer the lowest prices, Hyundai embarked on numerous restoration projects throughout the nation, constructing buildings, bridges, roads, and dams. As a result, Hyundai became one of South Korea's fastest-growing companies. Hyundai Motor Group is currently the third-largest automaker globally in terms of volume. The brand attained technological independence by producing its engines and gearboxes and keeping up with technological advancements in automobile design in 1991. But at this point, Hyundai began to get a bad reputation for building super vehicles, so they introduced their 10-year and 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. The company continued its global expansion and product redesigns throughout the 1990s to compete with companies like Toyota and Honda. Thanks to its distinctive product lineup and the value it brought to the market, Hyundai began to establish a much better reputation after the turn of the century, both domestically and internationally. Even though it took a few decades for Hyundai to rise to prominence in the import auto industry, during that time, the company concentrated on producing better goods while maintaining the kind of value for which it was first recognized. Although the Hyundai brand is still associated with producing cheap automobiles, the truth is that they essentially sell cars that are identical to the more costly, well-known Japanese brands, but at a lower cost. Hyundai again distinguished itself from other brands by developing distinctive designs, such as those found on the 2009 Hyundai Sonata and Elantra, and eventually launching its luxury brand, Genesis. The new era for Korean cars.
5 years ago, if I thought I would be where we are today, I was not as optimistic. I thought we were going to make progress, but I think we've made way more progress.
A car brand must be very successful to maintain its popularity over time. Sure, with their quirky CEOs and cutting-edge technology, new automakers like Tesla can certainly make a splash. But it takes the correct kind of product planning, money, and most importantly, patience to get it right if you offer products with a range of powertrains and for a range of consumers. Even though it took Hyundai more than 30 years to become a household name, it is safe to say that the company's perseverance and patience were crucial to its success. But why is Hyundai such a hit? While the American public may still not view Hyundai as a reliable brand like it does Honda or Toyota, the company is nevertheless making progress in the market with its hybrid and electric vehicle offerings, as well as its innovative design and technological advancements, which are evident in the highly sought-after Hyundai Palisade and the upcoming 2021 Elantra. It also helps that their renowned warranty is still in effect. According to Best-Selling Cars, Hyundai sold 688,771 vehicles in the United States in 2019 and did not appear to be slowing down. While retail sales increased by 5%, the overall year sales results showed a 3% volume increase. With 368,160 sold, Hyundai SUV sales set an all-time annual record, up 20% from 2018. Up from 46% the previous year, SUV sales made up 53% of total sales, the highest SUV mix in Hyundai history. New records were set for annual sales by Kona, Santa Fe, and Ioniq. Hyundai also adopted a different strategy to weather the coronavirus pandemic earlier this year than other automakers, according to CarBuzz. Hyundai made sure its dealers were well stocked with inventory and offered fantastic financing rates and terms to continue driving more demand. These tactics, along with thoughtful planning and research for upcoming products, will probably keep Hyundai afloat in the auto segments in which it is involved. That being said, there is no telling how successful they might become if they continue at this pace and exercise enough perseverance and patience. Stanford Graduate School of Business professor William Barnett said, "The Hyundai that we see today, especially from an American perspective, would surprise people if they remember the Hyundai that first entered the American automobile market years ago." Although Tesla remains the industry leader in electric vehicles, Hyundai Motor Group is the second best-selling EV maker in the United States. Hyundai has done a great job on the electrification side, stated Guidehouse Insights principal research analyst Sam Abdulsamid. They have released some amazing products. The company's relentless focus on enhancing the quality of its products, attracting top talent from prestigious automotive brands, and reinventing itself as an innovator in the automotive industry is largely responsible for its rise in sales and prestige. This is clear from the company's recently constructed Innovation and Design Center in Singapore. New manufacturing techniques, robotics investments, autonomous driving, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft are all being tested there. Global President and Chief Operating Officer of Hyundai stated, "I think Hyundai Motor Group is not a car company. We are a technology company, I believe. Looking at everything we do, it almost seems like science fiction." However, Hyundai has experienced many failures. First, Hyundai and Kia car thefts have increased since 2020 due to widely shared internet videos that show a method for taking specific model thefts. Second, a minimum of 3.3 million cars made by Hyundai and Kia are under recall due to fire hazards. Third, the company is also dealing with a fresh push by the United Auto Workers Union around its American factories, much like many foreign automakers do in the United States. Hyundai's journey is an encouraging reminder that anything is possible with vision, perseverance, and dedication. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comment section. Remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if this incredible story has inspired you. See you in the next one.